organizations that can provide valuable information, especially setting up goals for you as an organization that will help you later on to achieve those goals and have them on board, working hard and being motivated to achieve those goals that you set up from the beginning. And here we have some reasons that are, let's say, behind why do we need leaders in each organizations. In certain cases, you would not be able to keep things in order without a leader. You have a leader to keep things in order. Especially, we know human beings, like starting, I don't know, 50,000 years ago, actually, there have always been leaders that have led people, and mainly to keep things in order. The second thing is to keep focus on group goals. We said leaders do identify those goals, and they show the path to these followers actually towards achieving those goals. And that's what brings us to the next reason why we need to accomplish complex tasks. I think many of you are in leadership positions, so I don't think if you were not there, those employees would do the same job if you were not there. Because you are there to not only motivate them, but to evaluate them. That's why at the end of the year, there is an evaluation, who does what, how does that. That's why there are changes in the organization based on the performance. Someone is promoted, someone is, let's say, fired, leaves the organization. So that's why we need the leaders within the organization. Also, we need them to make sense of the board. So groups and their leaders, let's say, they do provide, let's say, their followers in these cases, their subordinates with this kind of, let's say, perceptual check, what we call it. So they help them to make sense of the word, to establish that so-called social reality that they can make sense of. Yeah.
That means without leadership, the tasks will not be accomplished. There will no groups, no tasks, no goals.
Actually,
or it's just the efficiency will be less.
That's what I mean. It's not that actually you cannot. They won't do the task, but those will not be done the same. Actually.
Okay.
That's why when we're going to talk about later on about different, let's say, leadership styles. You know?
Yes.
And we know that not each of these leadership styles is, let's say, appropriate for different situations. So if you would like to be a successful leader, you would have to know when to use this leadership style. So you cannot be all the time autocratic leader. Sometimes you will see based on what kind of employees, how job is done. Sometimes it's good to have the laissez-faire, for example. You just let them do the job and only intervene actually when there is a need to intervene. Sometimes it's good to be a democratic leader.
So as we all means there is a lot of different of type or already different of kind of leadership, not only one unique.
No, I mean like that's the good thing about leadership and being a good leader. So knowing to read the situations and then to apply different leadership.
So you already use a lot
that's
of
actually one of the that's what the situational approach to leadership actually suggests.
There is no approach.
No, there is, that's why there is no, let's say, best single approach when we talk about leadership. It's all about reading the situation. Also your followers, because they will make a difference. Because it's a cultural thing, you know. In certain cultures, they like, you know, more autocratic style. So you have to keep it harsh with them. Be autocratic. In certain cases, they don't like it that way. You will have to use a more a different style. So that's why we say that leaders don't do the job, but actually they are the ones that, in a way, motivate, influence people to achieve those goals. And that's why we say that we need leaders to accomplish, especially when we talk about complex tasks. And the last one is mainly it's considered to be a romantic idea. So usually in organizations we have these leaders that we identify with countries as well. So it's mainly like a thing to have in organizations. That's one of the things.
We will go through different types of leadership.
We'll talk about those three main types later on. So it's not because if we go about talking the types of leadership, I think we will spend lots more time. So for 2 hours, I don't think. Especially those that have taken MBA with IBAS, we have a course on leadership.
Yes.
So
A whole course about the leadership.
whole course about leadership.
Sorry, we talk about leadership in business, just in business, or
No, I don't think this would be just in business.
yeah.
So
Because
I don't.
the
Leader,
political
I mean,
leadership come down, fall down.
let's say, okay, to keep groups orderly. If you don't have a president of a particular country or a leader, so I don't think things would run, let's say, properly then without having a leader. We know what happens when countries don't have a leader, like during the time when there are, I don't know, wars, takeovers, coup, for example. So, yeah, it's how we see things. Actually, it's not that it's only in business. But today we are mainly talking about leadership in business. We're not gonna enter into.
Because all vertical business now, leadership or business.
Well,
That's
maybe.
what happened now.
Yeah.
All the leadership come down, people fall down. All.
Well, it's their fault actually. I don't know. You have a saying that says how the people are. It's that's how their leadership. So leadership is projection of the people. That very sorry.
Yes. This side.
It's fully charged. So
All right. Thank you. Appreciate it.
So yeah, those were actually some of the main reasons why do we need leadership. And here we have like particular reasons why leadership actually matters. What kind of difference leadership makes for the organization. And the research actually shows that leadership is one of the many factors that affect the performance of the organization. And what is the first thing that organizations do when they are not performing well? The first thing.
There is which means KPIs, which means key performance indicator. If you have your indicators and put the standards of these indicators and the
No, I mean like I'm a simple thing. Organization, their bottom line is negative. What's the first thing?
Company will lose their reputation.
Yeah. What they do actually, what they replace, the first thing. What's the That's why. If you don't perform, that's why they replace. That's why it's strongly associated with a performance of the organization. And that's why when the organizations are not performing, the first thing that they do is they change leadership. And we have seen that changes in leadership that have been like positive, let's say, performance of the organization. Different leaders, they make changes in the organizations, they change the culture, they change the way things are done within the organization, they change their team, usually leaders, they do come with their own team, they bring their own people that they trust, that they can help them to achieve, let's say, much better performance in these cases. Also, leadership can indirectly impact other performance factors. We mentioned motivation, let's say, innovation as well, encouraging. So those are additional things that these leaders can motivate that on the other side will have a positive effect on the performance of the organization. Yeah, absolutely. Also, we mentioned earlier, they are considered the ones that do provide actually vision and direction for the other employees. They also identify situations in which leadership matters. It's essential. This is what I mentioned earlier. Leaders are the ones that should analyze the situation, and based on the situations, they should take the necessary steps.
Putting the vision, it must be from the highest managerial level, or it's not a mandatory?
Well, actually, usually it's identified with the leaders. You mentioned that yourself, you are a managing director of certain companies. It actually starts with the leaders, and